Hank Cisco Show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for, welcoming us into your home. And just want to start the show off a little bit about how we feel about what happened in France. And I just want to do something to show my respect and condolence to the people in France. I went over to Signorama and I asked him if he'd make a sign, and he made this sign here, which is, I thought this hits the heartstrings of my heart. So my guest today, Albert Al DeGenaro. He is the deputy legal man for J.P. Mascara. Okay. Now, what's interesting about I'll say Al, that he was in France, Normandy farms, Normandy, where the soldiers were, and he toured Italy, and he's also looking for history about his grandfather, and he tells the story, and I'm just, I just love. I think everybody should be proud of their nationality, their religion, and everything. So without further ado, in this corner,
well, hello,
Albert DeGenaro.
Thank
Albert,
you.
tell me now, you left and you went to Paris, France.
Thank you, Hank. It's a pleasure to be here. Yes, I went to Italy 3 years ago with my children, but I wanted to go back this time for two specific reasons. I wanted to go to Normandy because I'd always heard my father talk about the Normandy beaches. He fought World War II.
Was he in the service?
My father was 3 years all throughout Europe during World War II. And so I wanted to do that, and I also wanted to go trace my roots and find out where my grandfather, Giustino DeGenaro, was from. So to get to Normandy, the easiest way to accomplish that was to go to Paris. And I must say that I went there without any expectations. Paris is a beautiful city, a lovely city. The Parisians are wonderful people. So my heart goes out to all those folks in this terrible tragedy that's happened in Paris and elsewhere throughout the country and the world. But Paris was a wonderful city. I spent 3 days in Paris, and we took some day trips, went to the Palace of Versailles, went to the painter Monet's house. But one of the highlights of the trip to Paris was we took a train to Normandy and stayed in a little hotel, the same hotel where John Wayne stayed when he made the movie The Longest Day.
Oh, yeah.
That was really exciting.
Great. Yeah.
And then, of course, to walk on the beaches of Normandy where our soldiers landed, and it's amazing when you look at that, how they did that, 70 years ago. And when you saw where the Germans had their cannons and their barracks, and how it was very difficult for the Americans to make it that day. There are all kinds of fortifications. So the beach, when it's low tide, is about, I think, 1,200 yards. It's amazing the amount of sand that the men had to traverse to get to the beginning of the ground, beginning of the terrain before they could go up. So it was quite a moving experience. The Pointe du Hoc, which was where President Reagan gave a very memorable speech in 1984, where the Americans climbed this point to get up over where they thought all these German guns were there. And once they got there, the guns weren't there, which was good, but it was still very difficult to climb the bank. So that was exciting there.
Well, did you lay this out that you wanted to see certain things?
I did.
Because a lot of people go over to Europe and they spend more time in the bus.
Yeah.
And
well, I didn't want to use a travel agent. I wanted to do it myself.
Yeah.
So I knew what I wanted to do, and I have to be honest with you. One of my daughter's best friends from college likes to do all this stuff. So she went online and gave me some options of what I wanted to do. They had this great half-day tour at Normandy. You get in a little van, and they take you to the beach, they take you to the bunker.
And they explain it?
They go through everything, take you to the cemetery.
Oh, that's great.
Give you some time to walk. I actually brought a little plastic bag along and took a little sand from the beach. I don't think they'll miss it there, so I have a little sand from the beaches of Normandy as a keepsake. Yeah, I should have brought that today. I forgot.
Right.
So that was really exciting.
All right, so you're in, and how did you get from there to Italy?
Well, we took the train system in Italy and Europe is very good.
Trains are big things there. Oh, yeah, in Europe.
But to make it quick, from France, we flew to Genoa, home of Christopher Columbus.
Oh, Christopher. Now tell me something about Christopher Columbus. We got a monument in Norristown.
Absolutely. Hank, I tell you this all the time. Well, first of all, I should say one of my other titles I'm very proud of is that I'm president of the Americans of Italian Heritage Council, which is a wonderful organization.
Right?
wonderful organization in Montgomery County that was formed over 35 years ago to do a couple things. One of the things was to foster and perpetuate the Italian heritage, and also to help Italian Americans and other officials that want to run for public office.
Political
Right.
action.
Right. So I took the plane rather. We flew from Rome to Genoa.
Genoa.
And let me just tell you something pretty neat.
Is that where Christopher Columbus was
but
born?
hold on. Let me back up. Let me tell you something. No, we took the plane to Genoa, and in Genoa there was a statue of a monument for Christopher Columbus. No comparison. No comparison to one in Norristown. It was just a statue. It was just a statue where the one in Norristown that Anthony Ponapinto designed is probably the best in the world of any statue I've seen.
And
Al Ponapinto.
J.P. Mascara, Pat Mascara is now taking over, helping me continue on with the monument.
Right.
To modernize it or so, make it up to date. So that's things to come, you know. So so happy that he jumped aboard. So go ahead.
So we fly to Genoa, and then we took a train. I wanted to go to the Italian Riviera, a place called Cinque Terre.
Oh.
It's in this region called Liguria, which is, there's a French Riviera, and then there's an Italian Riviera. The Italian Riviera has become very popular. The most popular cities in the Italian Riviera are called Cinque Terre, which means cinque, five, in Italy, and terra.
Cinque,
right, you got it. Cinque, and terra is land. So there's
Cinque.
So Cinque Terre has become really popular, and we flew to Genoa, and took a train.
There's a beach there for swimming.
Right. Well, there's beach.
Yeah, but there's women over there don't wear no tops.
Well, I missed that beach.
You missed that.
I missed that one. They all had tops on where I was.
Wow.
But we took a train and stayed. We used as our base a town called Santa Margherita, which was a beautiful city in a harbor right next to Portofino.
Oh, tell me something about Portofino.
Well, first of all, Portofino is a base where Andre Bocelli spends time in the summertime.
He sings. A lot of times
right.
you'll see it sings. It's like a harbor.
Exactly.
And he sings there with all the boats and everything.
Beautiful.
And let me just say something about Andre
Bocelli.
On December the 12th, he will be singing in Philadelphia. And Frank Gelb, who is a manager, a good friend of mine, he was a fight manager, now he manages Bocelli. And I asked him if I could get the opportunity to meet him. And he's going to set it up that I'm going to take my daughter, Carol, with me, and we're going to be sitting with Neil Gelb, his son, and a ringside seat, and I'm going to get an opportunity to meet him.
Oh, that's
the
wonderful.
Blind, and who knows, maybe I'll sing, "Hey, Gombari, si wassanati," but no, he sings that.
His voice is wonderful.
So
in
that's,
fact,
that's
when I was there, the first 2 weeks of September, about a week or two before he was there.
Oh, yeah.
And he just showed up at a church for a wedding and asked the priest, "Can I sing Ave Maria?" Can you imagine that? The bride comes into the church and there's Andre Bocelli singing, unrehearsed, unplanned.
Oh, when he was here, when the Pope was in Philly,
right.
He brought the house down when he sang the Lord's Prayer.
I was there. I was magnificent.
That's right, you were there.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me tell you about my trip. So we get to Santa Margherita.
He wants to tell about his trip.
Right, and they have a neat walking trail that's about 3 kilometers, which is, I'm not real good on that, but I think it's 5 kilometers. It's about 3 miles, 3.2 miles. So they have a trail you can walk, and you're basically walking along the coast from Santa Margherita to Portofino. Now, so the members of your audience, your listening audience or viewing audience knows where it is. I'm going to hold this map up and point that this is the area that I'm talking about.
Hold it up higher.
In the Liguria region of Italy, and it's there's after you get below where's Christopher? Below Genoa, you have Portofino, Santa Margherita, and you have those 5 little Italian areas becoming very popular for tourists. It was really beautiful there.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
Beautiful. So we did that. We spent 3 or 4 days there. The food was excellent. The fish, eat a lot of fish there,
a lot of
delicious.
fish right along the coast. Yeah.
Wine was delicious.
Calamari.
Right, and the wine in Italy has no phosphates.
Oh, yeah.
So you no matter how you don't want to drink too much, but no matter how much you drink,
fertile.
You never have a hangover. You never get a headache
You
from the
know,
wine.
when my wife Dolores and my son, we went to Sicily, and my cousin, pretty well to do, you know, all the poor Sicilios came to the United States, all the rich ones stayed over there. But he was telling me that the sands of the Sahara Desert, at certain times of the year, it spins around and it lands on Sicily, and that makes the ground so fertile in Sicily.
Really?
They'd like to have a couple crops a year, you know.
How about
So that's when you're talking about the food tastes is different,
And the
you know,
wine.
the wine, you know, because of the fertile ground.
And one of my days there, when we took a train from Santa Margherita down to the Five Lands, the Cinque Terre, between two of the towns, you can take a walk. You walk from one town to the next. This walkway must be,
They have
it's
walls?
at least,
They
it's,
have walls?
well, it's very, I don't have any pictures of that here, but it's all along the coast. But my point is that there's like 1,200 steps, and they're all steps dug into the ground in concrete. So you're going up and down and up, and
On
it's
steps?
on steps, cut into the side of the cliff. I mean, it's not an easy walk.
Oh, I
It
can't
took
go there.
about 2 hours to walk about 6 miles. It was not easy, but it
Well,
was.
you used to
yeah.
walk, and you're always walking.
Oh, I'm in good shape,
I
but you
remember
had
you were in the district attorney's office. You'd be out there walking,
Jogging,
you
right.
know. Let's talk about that. You were a former assistant district attorney.
used to
and,
be an
and
assi-
I was a county detective, and we worked together.
You're one of the first guys I
And
met
I
when
want
I
to say
came.
that you, as a assistant district attorney, never lost a case.
That's right. I never lost
Never.
a case.
Every case he handled when he was assistant DA, he won.
Trials.
He knocked them out in the first round.
Jury trials, right?
Go ahead.
So we spend our 3 or 4 days at Santa Margherita, and then we took a train from the Italian Riviera to Rome. It's a 5-hour train. The trains are
Oh, yeah.
so good in
Yeah.
it's,
And you have to get a pass ahead of time, like
right.
a reserved seat.
Yes, yes. So it was a fun ride for 5 hours. Look at the scenery. You're basically coming down the coast from the northern part of Italy down. Rome is kind of actually in the center part of Italy, but it's pretty much along the coast. So we spent 3 days in Rome, 3 more days in Rome. And one of the neat things about my trip was I planned to go to try to trace my roots and find out where my grandfather was from.
Yeah,
And it was
that's-
interesting.
That's it. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
it was very interesting because
What was the name of the town?
well, it turned out to be Montepagano, but like many immigrants who don't speak the language that well, I wasn't sure when he landed if the records spelled his name right and spelled the town right where he was from.
They went by sound.
So it took me 3 tries to really get the town. And I finally, one of my aunts had the registry when he came through Ellis Island to show the town he was from. And on the same page were about 6 other people from the same town. And I said, you know what? They couldn't have got all 6 people wrong. This is probably the right town. So I had a friend, Raffaello, I forget Raffaello's last name, who's from Italy, who now lives in Montgomery County, communicated by email saying, do you have a DeGenaro in your records? And they said no. They couldn't find anybody there. But I said, I'm going to go there anyhow, because I don't trust the internet or the records. I wanted to get some FaceTime. So we're leaving Italy. It was really neat was before I left to go abroad, I was looking at some of my dad's records, and I found a picture of him standing in front of a monument in Italy.
When he was a soldier.
When he was a soldier. And I said, oh my God, I saw that monument 3
You got a
years
picture
ago.
of that?
So I said, I'm going to go take a picture of me standing in the exact same
Oh,
spot where
my
my
God.
father was.
That's
So
great.
I'll show your viewers this picture. The top picture is my father and 5 of his fellow soldiers
let me see
standing in
this.
front of the Victor
This is
Emmanuel Monument.
That's the monument.
Victor
Benito Mussolini.
Well, it's a monument. It's a monument in honor of King Emmanuel. He unified Italy back in the 1500s. But Mussolini used to give his speeches right next to the
yeah, and they
right.
call that the wedding cake.
wedding cake because it looks right. And
So
then
where's your dad is where on the
my
end?
dad is the end, the closest one here.
On this end here.
Yeah.
All right, now show me the picture where you.
And so then
right
this
down
is
here.
me. This
Hold
is
that up
me.
there.
In the same.
And that's you. The same location.
monument.
How many years?
70 years later.
Oh my God.
So he was there in 1944 or 45.
Yeah. Well, that
as a young man, as a 23-year-old soldier.
Well, he looked good. Let me see. Let
Yeah.
me see that. I got to take.
So I did that on our way out. way out of town, and I had a driver. I said, look, you got to stop now. It's the middle of the day. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, so much rush hour. I couldn't get in the middle of Piazza, but I got as close as I could without getting run over. Because Italian drivers aren't,
Oh my
they're a
God!
little
Beep,
crazy.
beep, 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 boop, boop,
Yeah.
boop. They don't use brakes.
No.
They use a horn, and they dodge, bob and
So-
weave, slip and slide.
So
But I
then,
didn't see many accidents though.
no. So then we started the trip, and it was 2.5 hours from the West Coast to the East Coast. And again, to give you an idea
By
where I
train?
went. No, by car. I had a driver.
car, oh.
I had a driver. And the
Who
Italian.
was driving you?
No, I had a driver.
Oh, you have a driver.
I had
yeah.
a driver.
You're better off.
Yeah, I sat in the back seat. He drove.
Yeah.
The highway is similar to the Autobahn. It's called La Strada, I think. And I'll show you again. I went from Rome on the West Coast, which is, let's see where it is. Where is it? It's right there. And we drove straight across Italy to Abruzzo, which is where my grandfather was from.
Oh yeah.
The province of Abruzzo.
He's from Abruzzo.
Abruzzo,
Where's
right.
the Sicilian come in at?
My grandmother was Sicilian.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but that's only a small part of me.
I knew you had a little Sicilian
Yeah.
blood in you. Right.
So, I'd done some research, and the way you find your roots in any town, but typically in Italy, you'll go to the records, the equivalent of City Hall, like Borough Hall. You go to the records and see if they can find anything. Actually, first you go, my strategy was, I'm going to first go to the town and just see a citizen or see somebody and ask them.
Right.
So we drove to the town. It's up on a hill. The driver puts it in his GPS, right? Now I had been on the website a couple times, so I knew the town was on the top of a hill. Well, he puts it in his GPS.
No guardrails.
No, he puts it in his GPS, and he gets there. He gets to this spot, and he looks a little puzzled because it says, "Arrived at your destination," but we're not there. And he had no idea where a town was. And I said, "Up on the hill, up on the hill." So I could see it up on the hill. So I'll show you a picture. So up on the hill, we had to drive. We had to drive up. We were at the very bottom of the hill, and this is the town up on a hill.
Where? Right here.
Way at the top.
Way up there.
Right. So we started round and around. Finally get to the top.
Oh God.
So we got to the top, and we go to the piazza at the very top. It's a village of only probably 1,500 people. I don't think there's a building there newer than 1800. They're all 200-year-old buildings.
And they still
Yeah.
stay together.
And there's two guys having espresso in the middle of a cafe, and I walked over. My interpreter starts explaining to them who I am and what I'm trying to accomplish, and all I hear him say is, no DeGenaro, no DeGenaro.
No.
Nobody knew the name DeGenaro. So the one guy, I forget his name, he took a liking to us, and he says, come with us, come with me. So he takes me to his home. It was either his older brother or his grandfather, brings me in, introduces me.
Little glass of wine.
No, we were all business. He explains to him, and the guy says, no DeGenaro, no DeGenaro. And he says, un momento. He starts making calls. He called about 5 or 6 people in the town, seeing if anyone knew the name DeGenaro.
Oh.
No one knew it. No one knew it. So I knew if no one in the town knew the name, next we're going to go to the records department. So my friend that I met, I'll show you his picture. He takes us to the records department. This is a typical Italian village. Look how beautiful the sky is, right?
Oh yeah.
So we go. So this friend here,
That's you on the right. That's him on the
I
red.
think his name was Emilio. We drive back down the mountain, and we go to and there's another picture of the square. It's a
Oh, that's beautiful.
really beautiful
Yeah.
old town. And we
Sky.
drive down there, and we go to the records department, and we get in the room. There's 4 Italian women there. No DeGenaro, no DeGenaro. And finally, I say to my interpreter, show her this record. Show her this record. It's my record of my grandfather, 1910. The lady says, oh, wait a minute. She gets a little ladder.
Aspetta menudo.
She gets a little ladder. She goes to the top of a bookcase. She opens it. She pulls out this book. It's about this big. It must be 90 years old.
Oh.
And they used to handwrite. And sure enough, she finds
Everything's handwritten.
she finds all the records of my grandfather's family.
Oh my God.
And the reason why they couldn't find anything is because they left that village in 1916 and moved to another town.
Oh, and
So
they
they
didn't take the records with them.
So they didn't have any records new. So I got a picture of those people. I promised to send them something. I didn't do it yet, but here's the ladies. And the funny part about it is you can see,
The lady that helped you out.
you can see, these are the 5 ladies that helped me out, right?
I mean, let me take a look.
You got to tilt it. And there's the ladder. And
There's
she
the
climbed
ladder,
up,
yeah.
and she climbed up top. And the book was about this big. And they made me a copy of the pages.
Oh, my God.
So-
And then you got to copy that.
So I got a copy, and I'll just show you another picture or two, which is how beautiful this town was. I showed you the picture. The picture up top that we saw a moment ago was the picture looking at the town, Montepagano. The picture at the bottom is looking from the top of the town, Montepagano,
down.
to the
Oh.
Adriatic Sea. It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And this is becoming it's starting to become a
Both
popular,
sides, Mediterranean.
exactly,
Yeah.
popular tourist site. And then
Well,
here's,
you covered it like the do.
I covered it all. And then here's, hold on, let me, one more picture. I'll show you one more picture. This is on our way out of town. I thought, let me get a picture of the, so after we're there, we find the records. Now I want to see if I can find my grandfather's house. So where do you,
Oh.
and find out where he was, you go to the Catholic Church. Because you get the baptism records, it'll show where he was baptized. The priest wasn't there.
Nice.
So we waited.
on-
But look at the size of
on
the door.
retreat.
Look at the size of this door, how that church was.
Oh, my God.
Huh? Right?
And that's the
That's
street.
That's the street. And I'm there with my girlfriend Marisa. She went with me. But look at that street, Hank. That street must be,
Oh, my
that's
God.
a typical, that's 200 years old down there,
They don't
right?
paint nothing.
Right.
They don't paint.
So you can see that. It wasn't made for cars to drive down. They had horses and donkeys, right?
Oh.
And pulling carts.
It's all one-way traffic.
I don't know what it is.
I don't see no two ways.
And then on our way out, I got one last picture so you could see
Let me see the copy of the documents.
the document. It won't, I don't know if it'll come through for your
Oh,
viewers.
that's all right. It just shows it.
But
you
it
know.
shows Figlio di Famiglia, and it says Giacomo DeGenaro. That was my grandfather's father.
Right.
And it starts on that page. Then you turn the next page, and it shows all the names of the brothers and sisters, all his children. Keep a record of all of them.
Oh,
there.
my God.
Pretty neat. Pretty
about
all
that?
handwritten and
You
very
know,
neat.
my mother used to write like that.
Yeah.
Very
Very neat penmanship.
Yeah.
And
Good,
so,
good penmanship.
Right. And so on the way out,
remember
I
we
got
had
I got
a teacher at Rittenhouse Junior High School, penmanship, you know, ovals and back and forth and all.
and then here was my driver on the way out. We got a picture of the
me
town
see
saying
him.
Benvenuto Montepagano. That was Valdo, our driver.
Yeah.
That
What's this here? What's that up there?
That's Bellazito. It's a sign in the località di Rosetto di Abruzzi. In Italy, in some of these regions, there will be a town like Norristown, and then within the Norristown is another little community. So Montepagano was a village, but it was part of this town called Rosetto di Abruzzi.
Yeah.
And there's a Rosetto up in the Poconos that must have had some people from this town settled there, and they picked the same name.
Get someone up and change. You know, you mentioned one thing. You said like you're in the bus there for a train, a car for 5 hours or so. When I was there with my wife Dolores, and we were driving, and I would see this here vineyards on the side of the mountain, you know, and I was saying, what do they put on the side of the mountain? How are they going to walk up and down there, you know? So until Pat Mascara invited me up to his vineyard up there on the other side of Reading. What's the name of that town? The name of the cowboy or so. I forget what it was. Whatever. It's up there. And he says, and I asked him, I said, well, why is it on a slope? He says, because the vineyards do not need a lot of rain. They need sunlight.
Right.
So if it was on flat, then the water would soak it and they wouldn't grow. So it's on a slant. So I had to find out 20 years later
Right.
that why the vineyards are on the slope, you know.
So the water flows down and doesn't stay there.
Yeah, and the sun hits it, and then that's what makes it vino.
Yeah, in fact, in these pictures, that's what this is. These are all vineyards on the
That's
side.
what they are on a slant, you know. And so all right, now, how about the food? Tell me something about the food.
Food was delicious. Food was magnificent. Everything's fresh. Pasta's all
Yeah,
homemade.
they grow it,
They grow
cook it.
And of course I love pasta. So every meal you eat, you order your entree, whether it's fish, carno, beef, whatever. but they always serve, one of the courses always includes pasta, whatever kind of pasta you want.
Oh, yeah?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I know the restaurant went in Sicily where they had the fish, and you pick out the fish you want, and they cook them. You know, because it's right there.
Right.
It's a fish market
Right.
right along the coast.
And you know what else is, when you go to Italy, you'll never see spaghetti and meatballs. Meatballs are not Italian. Meatballs are American. Did you know that?
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
meatballs did not come from Italy. They came from Italian Americans that came here and wanted to have a little meat dish.
Well, when we went to this restaurant and I ordered spaghetti, and they brought it in a wooden plate on a plank. At, you know, the spaghetti right on the, you know, on a wooden plank.
Oh, yeah?
And they call that in fancy restaurants here, they call it plank steak, where they bring the steak on there. But I think they started that over there with spaghetti.
Maybe. Maybe.
So the wood gives it extra flavor,
Mhm.
you know. So, all right, now, are you going to go back there?
I want to go back again because...
Why?
Well, the final end of the story was, when I'm in the records room, they look in the phone book and they find a DeGenaro in the phone book. And they made a telephone call, and it turns out that one of my grandfather's brother's youngest daughter is still alive. Now, she's very old, and she has children, so I went to visit her. She's very sick, but I visited her, left my business card, and now I've been emailing back and forth with one of the DeGenaros.
They communicate with you?
Yeah, and this Marilena DeGenaro speaks very good English, and we've communicated. So I want to have her over here, and I want to go visit her probably the next year or two, back to spend more time this time in Abruzzo.
Now, how about the language barrier? A lot of Italians speak English.
Well, when you go to the tourist areas, Rome, Cinque Terre, all those places, they all speak English. But when I went to this town, nobody spoke English. If I didn't have this interpreter, I'd have been in trouble.
Christopher Columbus hasn't been there yet.
No one spoke English.
All right, okay. Now, all right, is there anything, wrap it up now, we only got 30 seconds. Tell me, what was the most important thing? One thing I would like to say, for the people in France, let's say what would be best for us to show our condolence.
I think, I don't speak French, but vive la France.
Vive la France.
Right.
Right, and God bless.
God bless America, God bless France.
Right. All right, so this sign here, if anybody wants a sign, Signorama Norristown. Okay, so we say in
Salud.
Italian, alla salud. It means
Gendani.
to your health. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for allowing us to come in to your home. And I can always say, God bless America, okay?
Amen.
So happy that my father had the guts to get on a boat and come over here and make it a good life for the whole family.
What town? Shaka, right?
In Shaka.
How about your
Sicily.
mother? Shaka too?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Shaka
yeah.
Dons, huh?
Yeah, Shakidan. Okay?
Okay.
So, adios, and God bless each and every one of you. Albert DeGenaro,
Thank
grazie.
you, Rock.
Thank you.
Prego.
Ah.